Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and in this video we will be talking about the interview question asked by Nagarro in the first technical round. This is L1 round, and the total experience of the candidate was 3.2 years. Okay, so we will talk about interview questions and I will also provide some sample answers, but answers can vary as per the candidate. So don't worry about the answers, you can have your own answers. Those who just need the questions, I will add it in the description so that you can just get it. And those who want to understand the question and want to see the sample answers, I will be picking each and every question and will also be explaining the how part of that question, and then we will try to answer that question. Okay, so let's begin the interview question. Before we move on to the question, feel free to share it with your friends and family and all those people who are looking for job change in the Salesforce domain, and that will help me. Do like the video if you like the content. That will motivate me to do better and create more such videos. All right, the first question was related to the order of execution. After the introduction, he asked directly from the order of execution, wanted to set the tone for the interview. See, whenever they ask order of execution, you have to understand why they are asking it. Okay, many times a student ask me, sir, is it necessary to have all those 19, 20 steps mesmerize and then just say. See, order of execution is very important because every time you design a solution, you have to think of the order of execution. So yes, it is expected that you should know the complete order of execution. But having said that, in most of the scenarios, you will not be able to even complete the whole order of execution, and whatever interviewer was looking for, you will be able to get cross questions on that point. So you have to start, you'll have to see what they are mostly interested in, like to see is whether you are able to include the flows or not in the order of execution, or you are updated with the latest order of execution metrics or not. And then the important part is whenever after triggers also run, then what are the things which will be revisited. So they want to understand if you know such concepts or not, because if you are aware, then only you will be able to build the scalable solution. Okay, so make sure you revise order of execution even on your interview day as well, because it is very important. It is the kind of topic which is very easy, but if you fail to answer this, then that will show a very negative impact on your interview. Okay, so make sure you revise it thoroughly on your interview day also. Okay, then second question is QAble Apex advantages. Okay, obviously there was couple of follow-up questions as well on this. So QAble Apex provides couple of advantages over few of the limitations which we had in the future method. First, you can directly pass the S object or the list of S object, which was not possible in the future method. Second, you can chain your jobs, which is very important, so that is also a very good advantage. Third, you also get the job ID, so you will be able to query the job ID and see the status of it and all. These all were couple of limitations of the future method which we were not able to. But having said that, future method has its own use cases. Same goes for Queryable Apex. Queryable Apex also has their own use cases. Okay, so it's not like, do not tell it from the comparison point of view is that future method is better or Queryable is better. They have their own use cases, and obviously expect couple of cross question in it, in topics like this, because I think this was the only asynchronous Apex question he got. So there will be couple of cross question as well. Third question was best practices of test classes. Till now, everything is in the theoretical domain. Like he is trying to understand you, he's trying to give you pointers so that you can answer those theoretical questions and can explain how well you know those concepts. Best practices of test classes, start with why we need test classes, and then tell all those best practices, like we have to use a search statement, we have to do positive test as well as negative test, we also have to do the bulk testing as well, we have to create our own setup data, do not use any org data. Okay, try to write down a test for your actual code instead of just focusing on the percentage of code coverage. See, the purpose of test class is that your actual code, you want to test if your actual code is written well and it is unbreakable, so that should be your focus. That is why write down the test method for each method you have on your Apex class. Do not use any shortcuts whenever you write test classes. I have seen so many real orgs as well where there were a lot of shortcuts were used. Okay, try to understand how your actual code will run and then try to cover those scenarios in the test classes. Okay, see, these are theoretical questions and give you a lot of points, so you'll have to extract the maximum value out of such question. Okay, then the next question was any recent custom implementation you have done in your project. Okay, see, he's asking recent, but obviously you can say any logical custom explanation even in the past if you have done. Recent helps you because that will be very fresh in your memory, but that doesn't mean that you will have to implement or you'll have to tell the basic one only if you are not working from last couple of months, or if you are working on support project from last couple of months, you might not have a very good custom implementation in your recent time. So in that case you can go to past and then tell such implementation, but make sure you tell a good implementation which can tell your capabilities, like as a developer or as a consultant, what challenges you got in that project, why you implemented in that way, what are the different other approaches you tried, and why you actually chose this approach over the other approaches. So you'll have to present it in a way that you can tell all such challenges you face in such implementation. Okay, next question was life cycle hook. Make sure you explain life cycle hook. Make sure you explain what are the order of those life cycle hook, why something goes from parent to child, why something goes from child to parent, why properties will be loaded first, and then how, if there are child components in the picture, how they will be loaded. Make sure you explain it properly. Okay, wire connected callback, which one will be called first? Wire will be called first and undefined value will be assigned to wire, and then connected callback will be called. See, you'll have to explain it in a way that you answer all the doubts within your answer, so that there will be no place for any further question. Okay, wire will re-get the value whenever the properties associated with those wire will get the value, let's say they are getting value from Apex. So the moment they'll get the values, then it will recall and then values will be reassigned again. This is a very important interview question, so make sure you understand whole life cycle hook, and then the place of wire will be called multiple times in the life cycle of different component hooks. How can you use static resources in LWC? Okay, there are different types of static resources which we use in LWC. Sometimes we just need to display an image where we store it as a static resource. So for every type of resource, the first step is that you create the static resource in Salesforce. Go to setup, static resources, add your file there, and then second step will be to use that in your LWC code. So I think I have some sample code for this. Let me show you. Yeah, you can see here I've written it down for you guys. So if you go down, let's say if it is just an image file, you will store it in your Salesforce by going to setup, and then once that file is saved, then you will write down an import statement. This is your file name, and you will import it from @salesforce slash resource URL slash the name of your image. And then how you're going to use it inside your JavaScript, you will assign a reactive property to it, and then in your HTML you will use that reactive property in the image src. Okay, so that's how you're gonna use this image file. Let's say you want to use external CSS file. So in that case, again, you will go to setup, you will add your file in the resources, and then you will have to import that file. Let's say my style is your file name. You will import it from Salesforce resource URL and then name of it. Additionally, you will have to write the load style from lightning slash platform resource loader, and then in the JavaScript you can use it. Inside the connected callback, you will have to load it. Okay, so that's how you're gonna use it. In the how it works in along with CSS, you can also load some external JavaScript as well. For that, you will have to use the import load script. Instead of load style, you will have to use the load script. So there are multiple ways how we use static resources in our LWC. but for every type of such resources, you will have to first create the static resource, and then there are different ways to import them in your JavaScript code. Okay, so make sure you do some R&D on this and then only come up with your answers. This is just the beginning of the answer, but most of the time, if you explain it in such a way, he'll be able to understand everything and will not ask much cross question from it. All right. All right, next question. How will you add the LWC component in the community page? First question is, can we add LWC component in the community page? Yes, we can 100% add LWC components in the community page. How will you do that? I think I've added sample code for that as well. If you go up, what you have to do, you will have to set the target for the lightning community page, and if you do that, then you will be able to see this particular lightning web component in your community builder. So first step is create your LWC, set the proper target, and then go to your communities, go to that particular community, go to the builder page of it. On that particular page, go to the component section and see if you are able to see that particular component or not. Okay, this is just the part one of the answer. When we talk about LWC component in community or any visibility on the community, it is very important that we ask a couple of cross questions about who is going to see that, whether those going to be guest users, or we are going to make it public for everybody. And based on the answers, a lot of security and security considerations we need to see. We have to think about a lot of visibility related issues as well. So make sure you answer it in such a way that you are able to extract maximum value out of it, depending on your knowledge on communities. If you are not very knowledgeable on it, then keep it simple based. But if you have worked on community related projects, then you have to get the maximum value out of that question. Okay. All right. I think this was also cross question related to the first question on the LWC component security implementation done recently. Here, here you can answer this question in different ways, but in every way, what you should be saying is how important security is. Interviewer wants to understand your overall understanding of Salesforce security model. So you can also say it in a way that, let's say you build an integration between external system, how you manage the security, how you made sure that external system is not able to gain additional access to Salesforce, how you made sure that additional the access you provided is adequate for the external system. Or let's say you implemented the LWC component page in your community, how you make sure that that LWC component is not displaying additional data to the external user, guest user, or unauthorized user. So here you will have to showcase all your security related knowledge, sharing security, field level security, epic security, role hierarchy, OWD, sharing sets if we are talking about the communities. So make sure you explain it properly and try to understand what interview is trying to fetch from that question. Okay, see, just question is very wide, like tell your recent security implementation, and based on that there'll be cross question. But if you put it in such a way that you are explaining almost everything, then that will satisfy the interviewer, and there'll be less cross questions on that, because he'll be satisfied with your general answer. Similarly, he asked about LWC implementation done recently. Make sure you tell a good Lightning Web Component example where there were a couple of child components associated with one parent, and there was a communication from child to parent, there was a communication from unrelated components. Make sure you tell why it was a complex project, and then how you implemented that, what are the different features you used on that project, and what challenges you faced, how you overcame those challenges. So make sure you use all such features. Okay, can we launch LWC from the community portal? Yes, we can launch LWC from community portal. I think this is a similar question in the similar context. Best practices of var let const variable. See, var let constant are different data types when we talk about the JavaScript. The best practice is what ECMAScript 6 suggests is that do not use var keyword, because var has block scope, I think function scope, and use let and const as much as you can, because they will sort out your scoping problem as well as what you want to do. So we have created a video on this, a whole video on this to, if you want to understand more, but this is mostly related to scoping, and the best practice is that we should not use where any longer. Okay, when let was not there, then where was the only option, but now we have let keyword, which is better in terms of functional scoping. Okay, so next is, there is a const variable. How can I use this directly in HTML? Is it possible? See, if you have a const variable you have defined in your JavaScript, you cannot use it directly, but you can assign it to a reactive property and then use that reactive property in your HTML code. Okay. So similarly, the way we use other variables as well, assign it to a reactive property and then use that in your HTML code. That is the way we should be using it. Okay, and these were a couple of apex related errors he asked, and why do we get these errors? Okay, first one is too many DML statement. Did you get ever in your project, and how did you resolve it? All three questions, all three errors should be answered in a way that, did you get it, what was the scenario when you got it, and how did you resolve it? Okay, if you have not get something, let's say you did not get CPU timeout ever in your career, which is normal. It's not like no, this is a crime. But then if you know that thing, try to explain it. If you don't know, then you say that you are yet to get it, but you know the basics of it. So we get too many DML statements whenever we have so many DML statements within a single transaction. That could be inside one code block, or that could be inside multiple code blocks as well. For example, let's assume we have an account trigger, and in the account trigger we are updating opportunities. So opportunity related triggers and flows will also run in the same transaction. Let's say from opportunity we are updating the contact, so contact related flows, workflow, process builders and triggers will also run in the same transaction. So including everything from account triggers, flows, workflow rules, opportunities, then contacts, maybe a couple of other objects, there is a possibility that including all the DMLs we have in the whole transaction, we are getting more than what is allowed by the Salesforce governor limit. So in that case, we will get the too many DML statements. Most of the students make a mistake that they say that, okay, there could be a DML statement inside the loop. Yes, that is possible, but in a real project, that there are very rare chances of happening. Like you have written a DML inside the for loop, because code goes to production by a thorough analysis and check, and having a loop inside, having a DML inside the loop is a complete no-no. That code will never pass a PR review. So very rare chances you will see those unorganized orgs where there are admins who are also writing some code snippet. There can be possibility, but normally it will not go. So most of the time in a real project, when we get too many DML statements, we only get when whole transaction is consuming a lot of DML, or something is running in loop sometimes. Those are the two possibilities, but DML statement inside the loop is a very rare occurrences in a real life projects. It does happen, but very rarely. Okay, so make sure you explain it from the experienced candidate point of view as well. You have a 3.2 years of experience. Question is relevant to up to 5 years as well. So make sure you show your experience as well with such questions. Okay. Next one is CPU timeout. Same example, there are multiple transaction happening. In a single transaction, there are multiple objects which are getting triggered through one transaction. Account is triggering opportunity, opportunity is triggering, let's say, contact, contact is triggering, let's say, cases. So account transaction will take some time, and then it will trigger opportunity, that will also take some time, then it will trigger contract, that will take some time. Everything is taking time. If there are a lot of code, a lot of custom code is written, so many validations rule written in your such objects, then there is a possibility that you might hit the CPU limit. So CPU timeout limit occurs when your whole transaction is taking more time than the assigned time by the Salesforce governor limits. In that case, you will get the CPU timeout. We have created multiple videos on this topic covering how to resolve the CPU timeout. You can go through that. Just write down CPU timeout issue and our channel name. You will get the video for that. And we have used platform events, we have used asynchronous apex, we have used async flows as well sometimes to break the transaction and to avoid the CPU timeout. If it is a genuine case, sometimes code is written such a bad way that it is getting CPU timeout. In that case, you will have to improve over your code base. But if it is a genuine case, then you will have to break the transaction. All the things which are not immediately required need to be moved to the async epics. All right, third one is epics heap size is too large. This is also a very important governor limit we get. See, heap size is whenever your code block runs, all the variables, all the data types and variables which you have on your code will get some heap. Okay, so that all the memory allocation happens, and then you get some space on which you will assign or associate memory, associate those variables with memory. But if your code block is consuming a lot of heap, you have a lot of variable, you are dealing with the large data set, you are dealing with an image file which is very large, and you are sending that file from let's say your LWC to your Apex, then in that case you will hit the heap size limit. And it has a different limits for synchronous and asynchronous, but basically whenever you are either working with a large data set or you are sending a large file from your front end to your back end, then there are very high chances that you will hit the heap size issue. How do we resolve it? If data size is very large, first thing is that we'll have to optimize our code. If there are so many memory allocation happening, we will try to limit them. If we are sending some image file, we will send it in chunks so that we do not get the heap size issue. Basically, we'll have to analyze our code and see that where we are using a lot of heap size. That can be done via the prospective manager. So from Apex debug console, you can go to the prospective manager, and here in the prospective manager you will have to set it to all. Okay, and then you will be able to for a particular log you will be able to see, okay, what are the different processes in your transaction which are consuming heap, and then based on the result of it you will be saying, okay, this particular assignment is taking a lot of time, a lot of heap size. Similarly, you'll have to also resolve the CPU timeout issue as well. From the prospective manager you can go and check out, we have a video on this on our YouTube channel. You can also go to that and see how we have resolved it and then resolve it. So these were the overall questions the candidate got in this. It was a very easy, for me it was a very easy interview because a lot of questions were asked from the theoretical point of view, not from the technical, not from the scenario based question. But then there was a second round as well for this candidate, and this was also complete technical round. So we will cover this in a separate video, otherwise this video will become very large. And then there was a third round which was a techno managerial round. So we have got all the questions. Even the techno managerial round was good round. A lot of technical questions were there, so it was more than 70-80% technical and 20% only managerial. So we will cover these on separate videos. Hope you like the video, hope you get some clarity from these type of questions, and feel free to ping me on feel free to ping me on LinkedIn. Sorry for Slack. Feel free to ping me on LinkedIn, and I'll be more than happy to answer your questions. Good day to you all. Bye.